Welcome back, welcome back. How wonderful it is for you to join us. We're going to be talking about, well, Shrek 5. And who could have seen this coming? Well, I guess we did a little bit. We've been talking about the possibility, but if you are the Walt Disney Company, you have to be saying to yourself, my gosh, what have we lost? At the same time that Disney is seeing flop after flop at the box office across multiple different franchises, including their animated stuff. Well, it looks like the other entertainment studios are taking advantage of that. And so here's a franchise that was left for dead. They were even removing it from the Universal Studios theme parks around the world, getting rid of it, replacing it with Minions. And here comes Shrek back. It turns out that if you remove the clientele from your business, i.e. Disney, they go elsewhere. And now that there are not all that many children's entertainment movies that Disney's putting out that people are interested in, well, they're moving on, and a green ogre is the beneficiary. Here, joining us to talk about all of this is Jonas J. Campbell of Everything That Is Woke fame. Jonas, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Good to be here today. Talking about the movie that is, the whole franchise is based on Disney's failures in the past, so it's only appropriate that we're talking about the same thing today.
That's a great point. It was a pastiche, right? It was satire of the old Disney movies, and Disney's down, so here it comes back out. All right, folks, before we get in, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and you can stick it to the algorithms. When you click it, we're talking about that notification bell. We covet your comments, so make sure you leave one before you leave out. Your thoughts and opinions really do matter to us. All right, first article is going to be coming from a little bit in the past, this January 28th, but you'll understand why if you stick around for the entire video. This by Armando Tinoco. I'm going to assume that's a Latino name. Eddie Murphy says he's ready to bring Donkey back in potential Shrek 5 or spinoff movie while throwing shade at Puss in Boots. Eddie Murphy is ready to bring Donkey back to life and talks about a potential Shrek 5 as well as hopes for a spinoff. I'd absolutely be open if they ever came with another Shrek. I'd do it in 2 seconds. I love Donkey, Murphy told E-Talk in an interview. You know, they did Puss in Boots movies. I was like, they should have did a Donkey movie. Donkey is funnier than Puss in Boots. I mean, I love Puss in Boots, but he ain't funny as the Donkey. And he continued, I would do a Donkey movie. I would do another Shrek in 2 seconds. That sounds like someone is animated and excited to do that. Wouldn't you say so, Jonas?
I would say so, too. That's amazing. Also, considering that the production has probably changed many times. So he's not even necessarily talking about working with the same directors over and over again.
Oh, definitely. True that. He just loves the character. And that character really is his personality, just at the absolute highest levels, right? Everything cranked to 100. So Deadline had this out, again, January 28th. And we knew that Puss in Boots, the latest movie that came out, was doing better than expected. But it just kept doing better. It just kept going and going. And so now we arrive today. And, well, would you look at this? Out of ScreenRant, this by Owen Danoff, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish set up Shrek 5 entirely by accident. Again, the filmmakers did not understand what a huge hit this was going to be. They thought this was going to be something small. Maybe even they were worried that it was going to be moved straight to streaming. It did not go that way. The box office busting and Oscar-nominated Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was one of the most surprising films of 2022. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you vacate your area of dominance, that's Disney, other people, other companies will fill it. Families are still going to watch children's movies. They're just not going to watch Disney movies. Following up on a decade-old spinoff and revitalizing the Shrek franchise in the process. But the result was apparently far from a foregone conclusion. Perhaps the most shocking moment of the entire film was the final scene in which Puss, Kitty Softpaws, and Perrito found themselves sailing the ocean towards the magical kingdom of far, far away as the iconic Shrek theme swelled. Even a film landscape bursting at the seams with cinematic universes, the implication of Shrek's return still managed to surprise audiences. But the most shocking thing about the teaser was the fact that it was not part of an overall plan. While the inevitability of Shrek 5 may seem obvious now, well, yes, success will do that. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish directors Joel Crawford and Manuel Mercado included the teaser out of their own love for the Shrek franchise and world. In an interview with ScreenRant, Crawford and Mercado were asked how early in the filmmaking process they knew they would be soft launching the next Shrek film. Here's what the director Joel Crawford had to say Jonas, would you mind to read that for me?
Sure. You know what? We didn't plan it. We're like Perito. We are just hopeful and positive. We loved bringing back Puss in Boots. We have such a love for the Shrek world and for these characters, and we were hopeful that the world would embrace this movie so much that there can be more stories, and especially that we could that we especially that we could go you. I think that's a typo. And
Take that, ScreenRant. Yes, we're checking you.
yes, and especially that we could go you and tell more stories with Shrek and Goldie and the Bears and Perito and with all these characters that we have. That's a lot of 6 in there for to miss that typo. There was no master plan. It was more of us going, can we just put this in and hope there's more? I think it's really up to the audiences. Do you want to see more? I think one of the just amazingly gratifying things in the way the world has received this movie and continues to. Interesting.
So there you go. And you know what I find funny about all of this is that Disney is out there just struggling like you wouldn't believe. Lightyear, based on Buzz Lightyear, cannot make money. I mean, it lost money for Disney. Who would have ever thought that a Toy Story spinoff would lose money? And here's Puss in Boots. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't think that Shrek had the cultural consciousness anymore that Toy Story had. Shrek's been out for a decade, and Shrek had 2 really bad movies that sort of upended the success that franchise had with the first 2. Those first 2 were phenomenal. But Toy Story, it's been popular. It's stayed popular. People can still buy Toy Story toys all over the toy aisles of big box retailers. You can't really do that with Shrek. Here comes Puss in Boots, and it's revitalizing and bringing back a franchise. And they don't even, the authors and the writers of this, they don't even think that's going to happen. They just throw it out there as a gag, and here we go. Jonas, how bad is it for Disney that this is happening to other companies that they just throw stuff out there. They just spitball it, and it's taking off, and Disney can't.
They can no longer win by default.
That is the quote of the day.
The thing with Puss in Boots, and he's lampooning a character, the classic swashbuckler romance type. Well, it just so happens that he is now traditionally masculine as a joke, but he's the only traditionally masculine main character that they've had for a while that also is very clearly gendered and very clearly a romantic. So he has romance, he has adventure, he has all these things that, yeah, check the box. That sounds like a fun time. Not check the box. Let's make sure we have our diversity, which he has because he's played by Antonio Banderas, who everybody loves Antonio Banderas. And let's stay away from his interviews. I don't even know what his stances are, and I hope they're not out there. Nobody look. Let's not ruin it.
That's right. Save the idealism of Antonio Banderas. Jonas, here's what I'm seeing. So I'm looking at a Disney that cannot produce a hit right now when it comes to animation. And I see Robert Iger going back now. I mean, he's all in for sequels and threequels and et cetera. Right? He wants Frozen. He wants Zootopia. He wants all of those. And I have a feeling that Moana 2 is going to be announced very soon. But at the same time that he's now going back to do this, there are 3 very formidable franchises which have, they have peaked their heads up now, and they're bigger than the Disney stuff. So if you look at it, Minions, I mean, that made $1 billion on a fraction of Lightyear's budget in this past 2022. So Minions now is a franchise that, it dominates Disney. Okay. Then on top of that, you've got the Nintendo stuff, which we have talked about. This is very big. The new Mario Brothers movie coming out looks like it's going to make at least $1 billion, probably more, and kickstart a bunch of other properties, all based around the Nintendo characters. So you might think of Zelda, you might think of Kirby, you might think of Samus, etc. Okay, that's enough for Disney to have to deal with. They've already ceded their crown when it comes to animation. They are no longer the big dog in the park when it comes to animated films. They've been knocked off. Okay, that was enough. Now, can you believe it? Shrek's coming back. Who would have seen this? What does Disney do? Jonas, what would you advise them in order to get their House of Mouse in order?
I would call Alan Menken and whoever he's working with these days.
Well, he's busy with The Little Mermaid right now. He's busy with that one, which is not going to be at all controversial.
And get him to write something, again, romantic. I hate to say it. They need to go for a plot that has a guy and a girl getting together by the end of the movie.
Disney struggles with that right
That is
now. I don't know if you've noticed, Jonas.
They truly do. And when you think about it, because the solution here, Illumination only has to do a solid B with everything but Super Mario Brothers, because they're tied to Nintendo, and Nintendo will not allow them to produce anything other than an A++ or an S tier.
Can you imagine if the next Shrek movie is on par with the first two? If they actually put the creative power behind it to make something really good?
Oh,
I mean, they could mock Disney into non-existence. I mean, that's okay. That is hyperbole, but you get the point.
But the great thing is, even when you look at the Minions movies, they just have to be a solid B. They don't have to reshape the world. They don't have to innovate as far as animation, although The Last Wish apparently did some pretty interesting things. They just have to show up and do a decent enough job that parents will go, yeah, let's go. This looks good enough. Let's
safe
buy
to
tickets.
Entertain my kids with this.
Yep. And then Mario is they're just gonna open up that warp pipe is gonna pop out, and then coins are gonna be shooting everywhere.
You know, this morning I did a video on just how bad the Phase 5 situation is for Marvel, the Phase 5 dive, looking at the next 2 years and how, I mean, they're in an abysmal position. Isn't it funny that as the MCU is diminishing, the NCU may be rising, that being all of the Nintendo cinematic properties that may pop out of the pipes as Mario begins to win over audiences come this spring.
I do not envy Marvel that massive slate that they announced so they can get to Kang Dynasty, and now it sounds like no one is interested in anything between now and then.
Well, folks, you heard it here. There is no franchise fatigue when it comes to the swamp, and there is a green ogre who is coming back, it looks like, in all likelihood. Eddie Murphy, Mike Myers, all of them, I think they're excited to do this. Antonio Banderas is for sure excited because he just had a real win, a real success story when it comes to Puss in Boots. A little movie that seems to have rejuvenated a long dormant ogre. And once again, Disney may be facing quite a few big franchises coming all at their animated feature films, giving them major competition and no clear path to victory moving ahead. Once again, if you like content like this, make sure to click like, share, subscribe, and you can stick it to the algorithms. When you click it, we're talking about the notification bell. Leave us a comment. Jonas, where can people find you out on this great, big, beautiful web out there?
You can find me on thatparkplace.com, where I love to do investigative journalism and talk about business, and specifically the entertainment business, or on my YouTube channel, Jonas J. Campbell, in my series, Everything Woke.
Everybody go check that out. Jonas's channel is on fire like crazy. Make sure you go subscribe to it. Fantastic content. And remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.